Hello and welcome to Short into the Pick with Richard and Kurt. Today, the Saudi Arabians triple their VAT tax. So we got that on the books. We got EPL starting up in June. Hello, let's go, boys. And we got Richard Branson dumping $400 million in stock. We'll go over that in stock talks. But for now, how are we doing, Kurt, over in Quarantineville over there?
I'm doing all right. I'm really glad we got this set up. This is working really well. I love it.
Yeah, I think that
remote recording.
I think this has come together pretty nicely, actually. I can get my nice little cooped up area. I can get a good little volume ratio. You know, the little aspect ratio on the volumeter there. And
yeah, and the one thing, you know, about quarantine is that there's not a lot to talk about sometimes, besides the virus.
Yeah.
But we found some stories today.
Yeah. You can say that again. A couple of big ones, too.
Even in sports, you know, sports is where it lacks a lot, but there's a couple big stories in sports.
Yeah, I think more of like an exciting thing coming up. And
yes.
And we'll get to that in the sports talk, too, and that'll be a lot of fun because I think I got a lot to talk about there. But
yeah, well, what did you do for Mother's Day?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. Me, personally, I'll do me first. I went up to see my girlfriend's mother for Mother's Day, which was nice. It was kind of rainy where we are, so we didn't really do a lot, but it was also
That's right.
My girlfriend's pup's 13th year on this earth. So
he's getting up there. Wow.
Yeah, we gave him little pup cakes is what they're called. They're like little cupcakes, except for they're made for dogs.
What do dogs like? Like, what is a good pup cake made out of?
I think carrots, is the primary ingredient in those. Carrots.
Carrots? Like carrot cake?
Yeah, like it's sweet, but it's not too bad for them. So
I would think peanut butter.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you do little peanut butter like as a frosting kind of thing. What about you? Did you enjoy your Mother's Day weekend? Did you get in touch with your mom?
I gave him a call. I just chatted for a while, and it's just kind of weird because, you know, I just had my birthday, so I was still getting stuff from them as gifts, you know, and so we were just chatting back and forth.
Yeah, you'll have to go and pay them a visit pretty soon. Same here, man. I haven't seen my mom since last year sometime.
I was actually able to go see them about a week ago, so that we kind of lumped in my birthday and Mother's Day. Her birthday's coming up too.
Oh,
so
excellent.
I checked that off the board in May. I went up and took a visit. But anyway, yeah, let's
we can jump right into this.
Let's talk about Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia going crazy. Now, you are the one that brought this story to me, so you may know a little bit more, but I'll go ahead and read the headline. Saudi Arabia tripled its VAT taxes, and it cut its state allowance amid this coronavirus crisis. So, to just, like, expound on that, the VAT tax is a value-added tax is what it stands for, and so they basically tripled when you go to pay for something at the grocery store. Say, for example, it was $1, and then you had to pay an extra cent in taxes. Now that goes, you know, that item that was $1 that you paid an extra cent in taxes, you're now paying an extra 3 cents in taxes. And I don't know what their VAT tax is necessarily, but that's how that is working out for them.
Yeah, and I don't know what the balance is between there. Now, a VAT tax is most likely to, you know, it's basically the same as a sales tax for the consumer, right? So,
yeah.
Am I characterizing that right?
Yeah.
So I don't know what portion of their overall taxes comes from VAT taxes. Here in the U.S., we have no federal VAT taxes besides like a couple of excises on gas and stuff, right? So, but it seems like it's a big deal. It's a huge move of austerity, which, you know, basically means they have not taken care of their books, you know, and they have not left themselves in a very good position for a crisis like this. So their government has no choice but to cut back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they're put themselves in a position where they're kind of digging a hole into their savings, into their reserve, and so because they're probably burning through it so quickly, so rapidly, you have to kind of take dramatic measures to sustain a positive balance sheet, you know. So
right. And you know, their whole economy is based off of oil. We all know what happened, you know, when demand around the world goes to basically zero overnight. You know, they're not able to sell their one export, and so, you know, in March the price of Bruce I can't get this out. The price of Brent crude oil, which is their one of their indexes, crashed 50%. So March was 50% low. I mean, that's
Yikes.
Honestly, I'm surprised it wasn't even lower, but
Yeah, that's true. I mean, considering how low the current demand is, in some of the world's biggest economies that are still pretty closed. I mean, luckily for them, there's kind of some light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. But I mean, this is just not something you do. And you mentioned this. I'm going to keep coming back to you, but you mentioned this. This is not a standard step that you would take in the event of like you're staring down economic crisis in the face. You don't typically raise taxes and then cut government spending. You usually do the inverse.
Right, and that's the typical playbook of the Keynesian, more recent, economic theory. But we see it in Greece, we saw it in Cyprus, and their collapses. You only do it when you need to. I mean, these moves of austerity, of raising taxes and cutting spending, you only see that when a company reaches like the brink, where they don't have any other options. They don't have the power that the U.S. does to just print a ton of money. So, I think I read here that their net. Hold on, I had it and I lost it, but let me see if I can find it again.
I mean, that's a good point. Go ahead.
Their 27 billion monthly drop in the Saudi central bank's net foreign assets. So, yeah, like you said, their Federal Reserve, their balance sheet is whack, and they don't have the kind of tools that the U.S. does to pull something out of the rabbit, or pull the rabbit out of the hat. So
yeah,
when we've seen it before, countries get to like a disaster point, they don't have any choice. They have to do something. They have to raise taxes, and they have to cut spending for sure.
Yeah. That's a good point you made, too. They just don't have the type of resources that, like, they've kind of built a market on the oil industry, which isn't a bad market because we've talked about this before. Oil isn't just what the gas you put in the tank of your vehicle. It's also the plastic products that you consume. And the oil industry is a very vast market, and I think that, there's a lot of smart investments to be made in that industry. But when you prop up your entire industry on one thing, and demand cuts as rapidly as it does, you put yourself in a really tight position where people that are looking at when you go to borrow from another country and you say, hey, can I borrow some money from you? They're like, what do you have to offer? Like, you have no assets to your name. I'm not going to lend you any money. So, it's just coming back to that point you made where they don't have any other alternative.
Right. It's a blessing and a curse. Oil, you were sitting on oil. It was coming out of the ground. It was a blessing, while you're making money off of it. But it's a curse when you live in a desert, and there's nothing else besides the oil.
Yeah. So that's pretty wild.
Okay. Yeah, they're kind of facing the grim reality, and we'll see what happens there. I don't know how you can triple taxes and what's going to happen to your consumer. What's going to happen to your people? I don't know.
That's a good point. Like.
People are going to be.
I'll tell you.
I wouldn't be happy.
I'm buying my new iPhone now, and then I'm not buying a new iPhone for another 10 years. You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, iPhone. What about groceries? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Something you're spending money on regularly. Okay, we can keep on rolling here.
What else do we have on the big newsreel here?
We have this one little story. We don't have like a ton on the big newsreel because there's so much in sports, and I kind of am a little excited to get to that sports thing.
Yeah.
But we can talk about this one little thing that you saw, and I think that's pretty cool. Teen climate activist Greta Thunberg teams up with UNICEF to help kids affected by coronavirus. So I'm sure anyone out there that might have grown up in America, I mean, I know when I was a kid, we used to do UNICEF fundraising all the time. Like it's like pennies for UNICEF or something like that, where we would go out and buy, or try and get people to pledge money, and we would donate to UNICEF. And I know that they're a global, that they operate in a global realm, so they do a lot of good stuff. But recently, Greta Thunberg awarded $100 million for her global activism from Human Act, a Danish worldwide development organization. So she
100,000 is what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she ended up giving. The money will go to support UNICEF's effort to protect children from food shortages, and this is just like kind of an issue that we've seen cropping up is as we've shut down the economy for all this. There's been a lot of like talk about food shortages and stuff like that. So it's
Has she won the Peace Prize yet?
I don't know. I knew that her name was in the hat, but I I don't know that she has.
I don't think she's won it.
Necessarily.
I think she's gonna win it before long.
Yeah, well, she's got a great platform. Like she's on an amazing platform right now. I mean, she's got global recognition. Everyone knows her name, and I think she's doing a lot of putting a lot of effort into trying to make it count. People get the limelight and they can be a little bit selfish sometimes, but she's trying to make it count in a real sense, I think. So, I don't know much about her or anything like that. I've never met the person my entire life, but it seems like she has causes that she's willing to fight for. And I don't know, global hunger seems like a pretty pretty good cause to be going after there.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. But that's just
Absolutely.
just a fun little. Hey, yeah, that's a good thing. Do we want to do one more? I gotta say this real quick. Man, this is somewhere in the U.S. It's gotta be. I don't know. Man who requested trial by combat clears sanity test and requests testing for ex-wife.
Yeah,
Dude.
that's in Kansas. I'm sure of that.
Yeah, Kansas man asked a judge to allow him a trial by combat with a Japanese sword in a child custody dispute.
This is something they used to do back in like the Germanic tribes of the 7th century.
Dude, that's wild. He goes up to his ex-wife and he's like, "Hey, by the way, I request a trial by combat. Like, I'm fighting you for my kid." That's pretty crazy, so yo.
Yeah, that's funny that he would even request that. Obviously, it's not going to happen, but
no, yeah, but
this is the kind of law and order that they used back like thousands of years ago.
Dude, that's wild. Summoned his ex-wife to the battlefield. Just the just the verbiage, just the way that it's said. It just makes it a pretty humorous.
So that's a funny story for the day.
Yeah, that's our funny story for the day. All right, let's get into let's get into sports, man, because I am excited to announce that the EPL was cleared to open back up in June. So that's our headline today. Thoughts, Kurt?
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know that much about this, but it seems like, obviously the government of, England or whatever, and the, they have the football administration there. They're going to take all the precautions that they feel necessary. But yeah, I think it's exciting. I was talking about this with somebody, I forget who, but Liverpool, I mean, could you imagine if Liverpool still hasn't won a Premier League trophy yet? Yeah. In their history, in their history in the Premier League.
That's wild.
And if they were to can the rest of the season, they still wouldn't have won a trophy, despite being the best team in Europe.
Yeah, by
last
far,
year,
too.
Despite being by far the best team in England this year, they were in threat of not having a trophy. So I think, I guess what they're going to try to do is accelerate the end of the season.
Yeah, I haven't actually looked into the details of it, but I'm just now seeing Associated Press is reporting EPL
play some of these games.
Like you said, the football association is going to be in accordance with whatever the government is ruling or whatever. But it says Mull's early end, even as the government clears them for a path to resuming. So that's what the AP is reporting. Spectators.
Now
are not
I don't know.
allowed in the
obviously,
stadium.
yeah, spectators know, and even to the extent that they would allow spectators, it would be limited capacity. But
I don't know.
I think that you just need to protect the brand. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have a trophy at the end of the season, or at least play until spots 1, 2, 3, and 4. The Champions League spots are locked up, or something like that, or just play until Liverpool gets a trophy and then take the top 4 and put them in. You need some sort of like closure on the season to tell the rest of the world that you're a legitimate league. Like, you didn't have a champion. I mean, in 2020, people are going to be looking up the record books, and there's not going to be a champion. You can't have that.
Yeah, that's
you
really
need to at
weird.
least play a few more games to get everything locked up.
Yeah, that would be a very odd ending. And it's not like there's a ton more games left. Like, you could snuff maybe a couple of games, like an early end, like you were saying, and still crown someone as the winner of EPL. And I mean, at this point, Liverpool is pretty dang far in the league. I think
that they need. I think that they needed like 1 or 2 more wins, and they pretty much got it locked up mathematically.
Yeah.
So if they do some sort of, if they do some sort of deal, where everyone kind of agrees and they may not have to play all the remaining games, but they just say, okay, let's play until we have a champion mathematically.
Yeah.
And then everyone agrees to that or something like that. I think that would just be really good for the sport. And obviously people are going to be excited. So the viewership is going to be through the roof. So you're going to have millions and millions of people around the world tuning
globally
in. And so whoever's going to be broadcasting that is going to have to pay a huge price.
Yeah. Dude, that's a great point, because
it's going to pay the players' salaries that they were complaining so much about.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe having to lose some of their pay.
Yeah, that's a really good point. That there's not just the aspect of trying to wrap up the season and have a clean season and kind of keep your fan base, your standard fan base, appeased in a sense that you actually have. You're completing the seasons, there's something in the record books there, but there's this emotional appeal by people that are just locked up right now and are just don't have anything to watch. I mean, I watch with my girlfriend on a regular basis, like what do they call Jeopardy or America's Game? What is that? Wheel of Fortune? They're doing replays now because they're not. I mean, it's such a small little event that we do in the evenings, but they're doing replays now, and it's not fun to watch something that I've already watched. And they've been doing this a lot with with sports. That they're doing like replay of like the 2011 NBA Finals or something like that. It's like, I watched that 9 years ago. I kind of want to.
I already know who wins.
Exactly, and I know who wins, and those teams aren't maybe not even necessarily relevant anymore. And yeah, they're going to be classics. Some of those games, like games that you're going to maybe want to watch in the future, or definitely have a record of. But people are anxious to get something new and exciting. Just getting cooped up.
And I think the word that Donald Trump uses about the economy, I think it applies perfectly right here to this Premier League, to these sports leagues, is pent up demand.
Mm-hmm.
People have been dying for sports. I mean, sports fanatics have not had any dose of their addiction, their medicine in months, and they're gonna eat it up. So I think it's a good money play for whoever wants to open first, because they're going to get the lion's share of all these sports fans that are going to come rushing in to watch the program, and you're going to be able to sell advertisers and everything.
Yeah, and I understand that there's this aspect of, I don't necessarily want to watch a game on television that's not being also watched in person. It will be
a little different.
Yeah, the 12th man, I think, is what they call
the
it.
Energy.
Yeah, the energy from the crowd. It's weird, it's different, but I think that people are so willing to overlook that at this point because of how long it's been going on that they haven't had their fix, like you said.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a pretty exciting thing. I'm looking for, and also the Bundesliga is opening up in May. Even,
mid-May, dude.
possibly.
Yeah, they're even earlier. Yeah, so they're trying to quarter the market there. That was a good move. When I heard that, it was very encouraging, because people look to these mass events for solace and comfort and like energy and it's it's a big package. People really love this thing. These are things that people can get really, really into. And
all right, so let me ask you something about a pick. Let me ask you for your pick on something relevant to that, which is the NFL. Now the NFL, I think they released the 2020 schedule just like last week or something, right?
They did Thursday. Yep.
Yeah. So do you think, let's see if you can pick, I guess, what is your pick on if they're going to have any delays at all as far as games scheduled? Is everything going to go off in the NFL without a hitch? Is that what the phrase is? Without a hitch? With all the games that they've scheduled?
I don't know that we are going to see the games in like a standard format, like I was saying, with the fans not being there and stuff. I would be surprised if even if we were really close to a vaccine, or we were mostly clear, as far as like a herd immunity kind of situation is concerned, I would be still surprised if the NFL were gonna start taking full capacity.
Right, but I'm just saying the games as scheduled. Do you think that the games will all be played as scheduled?
Yeah. So that being said, I would still be surprised if they didn't play the games as scheduled. So I am picking that they will play the games as scheduled. Yes.
Yeah, me too. I think it'll be basically no fans in the stands, maybe partial capacity.
I could see partial capacity.
A lot can change. Yeah, a lot can change in a couple of months, but And there's going to be tons of measures. I mean, if you want to go to a game, you're going to have to wear face mask, and
Oh,
there's
yeah.
going to be Purell. I mean, they're not going to maybe not sell food. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to be
I mean,
it's going to be different for sure. But it's going to be they're going to get the games off one way or another.
Yeah, the NFL is such a big market. Like you were just like we were just saying about the EPL. Whoever gets those games is going to be a big moneymaker. They're going to bid it out, and the NFL is the biggest global single sport entity in the world. I think. I mean, it's got to be up there. It's in the billions, you know. So
Yeah. So okay, pretty good picks. So a couple more stories I have in sports. You want to go over these little quick stories?
absolutely, I want to go over these quick stories.
So did you hear about Robert? Is that his name? Robert Kraft,
Robert Kraft.
the owner of the Patriots.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
He's selling his Super Bowl ring. You know the Patriots Super Bowl win where they played the Falcons and they were down 28-3 in the fourth quarter or whatever.
Yep.
He's selling that Super Bowl ring for charity. See, when I first saw the story, I was like, oh, he's selling it because he's having financial problems because he all this nonsense he's getting himself into lately.
Yeah.
But no, no, it's for like frontline workers, charity type thing.
Yeah, that's very cool. Like, that's probably a very meaningful win, you know? I mean, every win's
I think
a
that's got to be
meaningful
one of I think that's obviously going to go down as one of the best Super Bowls all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that ring is going to be so valuable, a lot more valuable than the typical Super Bowl ring. Although a lot of Super Bowls tend to be pretty good games, but we almost think of all Super Bowls as classics now, but that one was for sure like the classic of classics.
I mean, everyone was like counting them out. Either they were counting them out or they weren't you were on one side or the other. You're like, there's no way they can come back.
But still, it's a historic comeback. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest comeback in the history of the Super Bowl by far. Mm-hmm. But it also rivaled some of the biggest comebacks in any NFL game, period.
That's a good
ever.
point.
And it was in the Super Bowl. I mean, that was just a ridiculous game. So that's got to be a super valuable. I heard that the bidding went up to like 850,000. I'm sorry. 850,000.
Wow.
Just like in the first day. So
Wow.
I think this thing's going to go for over $1 million for sure. But
Oh yeah.
it's diamonds and stuff. It's just a ring, but it's.
Yeah, I mean, it's
cool.
like memorabilia, dude. People will pay a lot for that. It's like sport, like baseball cards, man. They go for all kinds of money too. It's just a little piece of paper back in the day that they printed someone's name on, you know.
Yeah.
But because it has that, like I was saying, man. People love this. People find excitement. It's competition. It's very fulfilling, you know. And so. Yeah, good for him.
Well, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool that he's doing
Glad
that.
that he's doing that, yeah.
And then one more story is we talked about this Arizona guy who won the golf tournament.
Yeah.
With a putter.
Yeah, that's
How
pretty
far
wild.
did you say he was driving with that thing?
So yeah, the guy did an amateur. He's an amateur and did an amateur
It's not like a
style
pro
yeah
circuit or something like that.
did an amateur style tournament in Arizona or whatever. And he won it all just using a putter. That's crazy, man. He was driving 200 yards with a putter, dude.
200 yards.
My man couldn't
Good night.
swing
This guy is
that.
not young either. This
No.
guy is like middle-aged. He's got a nice mustache.
Yeah, he's in his 60s.
Sometimes when people can do ridiculous stuff like that, it's like, oh, well, he's a 20-year-old, bodybuilder. I mean, he's he's a young guy.
Yeah.
This guy's just a champ.
Yeah, it's 61 years old. Man, good for him.
Oh, there's a video of it too. I hope my volume is down because I'm about to blast. Oh, no, it's not.
I like that you still took the risk, though. You said, you know what? It's worth it. It's worth it to see this guy drive the ball.
I want to see him drive
with a
look at
putter
this.
200 yards.
Dude, his swing is so smooth too. Oh man, you gotta check it out. Okay, well, we gotta keep moving on though.
Yeah, we can keep.
Let's
rolling
get to
here.
let's get to the stock talk.
Yeah, some stock talk. I like
You want me
that
to-
name. I think that's what we're
the
going to
new
be calling
segment
it from
name.
now
Yeah,
on. Stock
it was.
talk.
I don't know what we were calling it before, but that's what we're calling it from now on.
Yeah, for sure. If I can remember. Knowing me and my forgetful self, we're going to come back next week and it's going to be the picky or something like that. Anyway.
So the market was pretty good over the last week. Let me just go over some of the numbers. The S&P up
Indices, yeah.
2.1%, which is Yeah, I think that's pretty much right in the middle. I mean, Russell 2000 was up 3.9. NASDAQ was up 4.3%.
Wow.
A lot of tech stocks in the NASDAQ. And the Dow Jones was up 1.1, so not as well in the Dow Jones. So I think you can kind of see the type of industries that are doing well and some that are not doing. But overall, the market was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it makes sense that tech stocks are going to be the ones that can rebound more readily in this kind of situations, whereas manufacturing is maybe going to take a little while to like get revved back up, which I think the Dow Jones is a little more manufacturing / industry heavy. So
yeah, the cash is really flowing into some of these big tech stocks right now. It's like the safe haven almost.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
They're typically seen as like more risky investments, more growth, aggressive growth type stocks. Mm-hmm. But, whereas the retail and the manufacturing stocks are seen as safe havens because they last long over the long term, where the tech stocks go up and down. But not right now. I mean, right now people see the value of the web-based company. It's just pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like in this kind of just this very perfect environment for a tech stock. That's just where you want to be right now. And I mean that it doesn't last forever. Nothing's going to last forever necessarily. But like you said, it speaks to what our industry is geared towards nowadays. We have a very big information industry, very big tech industry in the United States now. Manufacturing, and you've talked about this before. Manufacturing's fallen to the wayside a little bit, and some people can argue that's not necessarily the greatest thing that's ever happened. But it does. We do have a pretty strong information industry, and it's resilient in this kind of situation. So for people that are looking for somewhere kind of safe, that might be where your investment is sitting right now.
Yeah. Well, there's another story about a stock pick that you made a few weeks ago. Do you remember this one?
Yeah.
It was SPCE.
Yeah.
It's Virgin Galactic Space Program, whatever.
Yep.
What is it called? Richard Branson's big...
Yeah, Virgin Galactic. It's his big space company. Went public late last year, like maybe midway through last year, and it was really taking off. It was, no pun intended.
How is it doing now? Because it was it's pretty funny. So it was crank. I mean, I remember back then it was growing like double every week or something like that.
Yeah, I think it peaked out. I think it peaked out about $34 a share or something like that, which was pretty high from its initial opening. I think it IPO'd around like $10 a share or something like that. So within a few months,
so it ran out of steam.
Yeah, within 6 months. I mean, it was just it was like super unsustainable. I still like their idea. I think that there's something to be said about really
certainly long term.
Yeah.
But so what's the big news with them this week?
Yeah, but the big news is Richard Branson is dumping $400 million of his Virgin Galactic stock, or at least looking into doing that. I don't know the story exactly.
It seems like the reports are pretty sturdy that he's going to sell off stake.
Yeah, in order to be fair, in order to kind of preserve his other Virgin stock. So Virgin in general, it's like his big blanket company, and they have Virgin Galactic and Virgin Mobile, and all of their other branches, and they all trade separately on the stock market. And so I thought I was seeing that he was interested in trying to redistribute that. And so you kind of brought up a good point about this, if you want to maybe sit on this for a couple of seconds and kind of discuss a little bit. But who has the liquidity to be buying $400 million of a stock right now?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, the stock... See, I don't even know. Is he going to sell it? Is he just going to open up the current, open it up on the current stock? I don't really know how it works, but to unleash a lot of stock in this environment seems like a really, it seems like you might be offering it for a sale. You know what I mean? You're not going to get your money's worth, because the market is down from where it was a couple of months ago. It is kind of a shaky situation. Like, are there are a lot of people with tons of cash that are looking to put it back into the market right now, especially into a company that's centered around space travel? I mean, that seems like such a risky, such a non-sturdy, like we were just talking about safe investments. I don't know if people are going to be willing to put all their money, if there's $400 million worth of assets out there in people's hands, waiting to get dumped into, an investment like this. Seems a little like maybe the wrong time.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm reading on this, and
Maybe a desperation move. Does that point to desperation?
Yeah, potentially. I think that it's certainly in that realm. Forbes was calling it, selling as much as $400 million of shares in Virgin Galactic as mounting cost of coronavirus pandemic threatens to cripple his business empire. Like I said, It was like a general thing. So
this is something where you just got to give away a piece of the pie in order to keep everything afloat.
Yeah.
Long term.
Yeah, exactly. Like he has an idea of what he thinks are going to be particularly valuable companies, and you don't make, you're not a multi-billionaire if you don't have a general idea of what a good investment is, I mean, he kind of built, all of this wealth over the last few decades of his life, So he's obviously put a lot of work in, but I'm reading here that in Virgin Galactic, they currently have a $4.1 billion market cap, so that's where their kind of like valuation looking is with the company, but the company lost $210 million in revenue of only 3.8 million last year. What, the company lost 210 million on revenue of a mere 3.8 million last year. Maybe that's supposed to say billion? No, I don't know. Anyway, it's just,
I don't know.
It's just, like they're in a spot where they're not bringing in any money, and and he needs to do something to float the business for a little while longer, because obviously he sees it as something valuable in the long term.
But you're offering it at a discount, though. That's the painful part of it. I mean, if he had made this move a couple months ago, the stock price would have been a lot higher, presumably. I mean, you can't. Yeah, there's only so much cash in the system right now that people are willing to buy stocks with. So it's an interesting piece there. But we got to get into our picks of the week.
Yeah. Do you want to do a review of our picks from last week first, and then do our picks for this week?
Quickly, yeah.
I believe I have
because I do want to celebrate over you. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes. So my pick last week was Intel, which
didn't go down.
Huh?
It didn't go down.
No, it went up. It went up. But it only just barely beat the market. So, as far as Nasdaq companies were concerned, I think it's one of the Nasdaq companies. It didn't fare as well.
Yeah,
you said Nasdaq was in the 4% range in the last
4,
week.
3.
Intel is up from
Intel was at 2.5%.
It was trading at about 59. It's up at $60 now, so about 2.3%. It beat the market average in some indices, but within the Nasdaq, it didn't necessarily kill it, but it was positive. So if you put money in there, then you were up a little bit more money than when you started.
Yep. And I picked Intuit. It was trading at 270 last week this time, and it's now at 287.84. So it went up 6.5%.
Nice, dude. Good pick. Looking like everyone realized, hey, wait a minute. Tax season's in July now. I better start getting a lawyer prepped and ready here.
Yep. So it might have been what I was talking about last week, or I have no idea. But it definitely beat the market. The whole market was moving up, so it wasn't it wasn't difficult to be in the positive territory.
Yeah. Last week, at the end of last week, we weren't looking so good. Beginning of this week, we're looking a little better.
Yeah. So, do you want to give your hot take?
Yes.
For this week?
This week, I am going with Comcast.
By the way, that's a win for me, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, okay. Well, yeah, barely. I still had 2.3%. Give me the benefit of the doubt on this one.
All right.
That is a win for you, and mine this week is Comcast. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Comcast, as in like NBC.
As in the telecommunications.
I see where you're going. That's because everyone's on the internet right now.
Exactly. Well, it's partially that, but partially that I think that we're rolling out into 5G, and this was an opportunity for some for some companies to get, like, right now the interest rates are really low, and companies that are in the telecommunications industry have cash flow right now. People, the last thing you're going to cut is your internet service, provider. No one is getting rid of the internet in the middle of being locked down at home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they didn't. I imagine a lot of these companies didn't lose a tremendous amount of revenue necessarily. I mean, depending on how they fared in the business realm, but they all didn't have particularly good. They didn't have a particularly good time in March. Like every other company dropped off the face of the earth there for a minute. So I think that we might be seeing this is like an opportunity for some of these telecommunications industries to say, hey, interest rates are really low right now. If we're going to take a risk, we might as well take a risk now. Let's invest in some money into this 5G communications while we can. Let's get this thing up and running by the end of the year. I don't actually know the end of the year.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of saying what I'm saying, but let's just try and get this thing rolled out.
Like you said, I mean, the money wants to go there because people they want to be sure the next time something like this happens, we're good to go. Like, we've got a company that we can rely on that's going to provide the best quality internet for us.
Exactly. And I think that, I don't think it's going anywhere as far as telecommunications companies are concerned. Comcast is a pretty big one. I mean, you could also look at AT&T and Verizon. I mean, those are domestic stocks that you can invest in. There's some international stocks that you could look at if you wanted to, but I think telecommunications industries, well-established companies in that industry are probably going to be doing pretty well. I mean, they're all trading really low. Like I said, right now is a good time to get in a telecommunications because they're pretty much bottomed out. I mean, I don't think they're not going to be going that much further down.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but they have those communications companies tend to have pretty big dividends as well. So they might not be showing a ton of you have to look at the dividends that you're also going to get, which could be upwards of, I don't know, I think with AT&T it's a pretty big dividend. I'm not sure, but go ahead and check that out because sometimes when they give dividends, you got to cook that into your return. I mean, it might not be showing as much of a return, but it's going to show up in the dividends that you can reinvest. So.
Yep. Yeah. You look back at these, and you're gonna, over the last 5 years, if you had put money in, even as far down as they are, a lot of these companies are still in the positive. You know what I mean? So this is that's a safe bet no matter basically no matter what.
Yep.
Just get it while it's low, kind of thing is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What about you, my man?
All right. I'm gonna do a fun one. My big pick for the week. I'm just gonna do a fun one because I saw this thing, and I saw it blip a while ago. It jumped like 50% 1 week, and then it just dropped back down. I was like, what is going on? And I looked at it just this week, and it's up again, like through the stratosphere. Its ticker is VTIQ.
BTIQ?
V, as in Victor, Tango,
V.
Indigo, and then I don't know what Q is. Quarantine. VTIQ. And just look at like the beginning of March. It was at $10 a share, and right now it's at $20.38 a share. So just over a month, it's up like 200 some percent. Or I'm sorry, it's up like 100 and some 150% in a month.
That is wild.
It's just funny, it blipped up to like $14, $15 a share, then it came back down to like $10 a share. But then since like beginning of April, look at it rise, bro. Dude. It's just funny. And then look, it's like it's attached to a helium balloon. I don't see, why would it be coming down right now? Just buy it right now and ride it a couple days, and you'll take your profits. So
yeah. This is
I don't know what's
quick.
Don't blame me. Yeah, if this one collapsed by next week, don't blame me because this is obviously isn't sustainable. I don't know what's going on. I guess they are a one of these biotech stocks or something like that. Something medical. Yeah. I don't know. But I don't know. Take it while it's hot. We'll see what it's at next week. Probably.
Yeah, dude, I like a crazy pick like that because either it's gonna be bad or it's gonna be really good. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Just check it out. Just look at it because it's gonna be it's exploding right now. Anyway, that's my big pick for the day.
Excellent.
And yeah, we'll compare them next week. We'll see who wins.
Yeah, I think that I'm on the safe side, so you might not see returns from mine for a little while. Whereas yours, I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of next week you were the winner of that one. Because that thing really is just booming right now. It is on an upward trajectory that looks like, what this is what the COVID line looked like. You know what I mean? Like this is the February.
Yeah.
We're about to hit March.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. We'll see.
Alrighty.
That wraps up Stock Talk.
Yeah. Do you want to wrap us up here? I don't know if I have anything else.
I'll wrap us up.
To talk about, but yeah.
I think that
I brought us in. We'll let you close us out here because you got
yeah.
the.
That's a wrap. Well, how about this? Everyone who's listening, comment the answer to these two questions. Well, answer this question. Do you think that the NFL is going to get all their season scheduled games off according to the schedule? Yes or no? And then go ahead and comment what stock that you think is going to be the best performing stock over the next week. And we'll see how they do. So with that, make sure you click that subscribe button. Go ahead and comment down below and click the like button. And we will catch you guys on the next one. This has been Short End of the Pick with Richard and Kurt. We'll see you guys next time. Till then.